Psychology facts about women, how human emotion shapes her arousal and response. There's something about a woman's body that whispers before it ever speaks. Something most men never notice and even fewer understand. You might think arousal begins with the body, but in truth for women, it begins long before that. It begins with energy, with presence, with the quiet undercurrent of emotional connection, and that's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. How female psychology, human behavior, and emotional tone shape the most intimate parts of her being. Now, before we go any further, this is a mature topic. We're going to talk about real emotional and physical responses, and how the female body reveals what it feels without ever saying a word. So if you're not comfortable with raw adult conversations about intimacy, emotion, and desire, this may not be for you. But if you're here because you want to understand women deeper, not just physically, but emotionally and psychologically, then you're in the right place. Welcome to Living Stoic, where we explore the inner world of connection, desire, and depth. Here we don't chase trends, we follow truth. This is living by inner law. Now let's get into it. Let's start with a detail that almost always gets missed. A woman's body is not just reactive, it's expressive, especially the upper chest area. What seems like skin responding to touch is actually much more. It's her nervous system speaking, her heart whispering, her intuition showing itself through the body. You may have noticed it before but brushed it off, a slight flush, a rise in breath, a tightening of the skin around her chest. But here's what most people don't realize. Those changes often happen before you touch her. They happen when she feels something. A spark. A moment of presence, a sense of being seen, not looked at, but truly witnessed. Why is this important? Because female arousal isn't mechanical. It's not just about pressure and rhythm and touch. It's emotional, it's psychological, and it's relational. That means her most sensitive areas, the ones most men chase, are really emotional antennas, reacting to energy as much as they do to touch. Let's pause and say this clearly. When a woman feels emotionally safe, respected, or deeply seen, her body reacts, subtly, naturally, sometimes unexpectedly. You might see a flush across her chest, you might hear her breath shift, you might feel her lean in just a little more. These aren't coincidences, these are signs. They mean something. And the more emotionally tuned in you are, the more you'll notice. Now here's where things get even more fascinating. Modern research has shown that parts of a woman's upper chest, especially the areas just beyond what's considered sexual, are connected to the same pleasure centers in the brain that respond to deep intimacy. That means how you touch isn't the only thing that matters. It's how you show up, your presence, your energy, your stillness. When you're grounded, when your voice is calm, when your breath is slow and your eyes stay soft, that's when her body starts to open. Not because you're being seductive, but because you're being real. This is why some women say they've felt aroused during deep conversations, or that they melted when someone simply placed a gentle hand on their shoulder with care. It wasn't about the act, it was about the emotional atmosphere. So let's go deeper. What actually causes her body, especially her chest area, to react in these quiet, visible ways? It's emotional tone, not charm, not lines, not bravado, but energy, sincerity, warmth, a gaze that doesn't wander, a compliment that feels like truth, a touch that pauses, respects, and invites rather than demands. That's when her chest tightens just slightly. That's when her breath rises, her posture shifts, her skin becomes a canvas of subtle expression. And here's something profound. These responses don't just show up when things are sexual. They often show up when she feels cared for, when someone helps her with her coat, when someone touches her back gently while walking beside her, when a moment feels present, not rushed. Now let's talk about long-term relationships. You might think these subtle responses fade over time, but they don't. They get quieter, but not weaker. They wait for someone to tune back in. Many couples stop seeing each other's micro-expressions. They get caught in the routine. But the truth is, a woman's body is always watching, always feeling, always remembering. The key to rekindling deep connection isn't grand gestures, it's awareness. It's the way you notice the gentle rise in her breath when she laughs. It's the stillness in her body when you finally say what she's longed to hear. It's how her upper body responds when she feels you really there, not distracted, not on autopilot, but present. If you're the kind of man who wants to grow emotionally, here's a powerful insight. Most mature women aren't turned on by performance. They're turned on by understanding, by consistency, by presence. When you speak slowly, when you listen without fixing, when your touch says I'm with you, not I want something, her body begins to trust you. And trust is the gateway. It always has been. Let's take a moment to appreciate this. When her chest tightens, flushes, or rises, it doesn't always mean I want you. Sometimes it means I feel safe. Sometimes it means I feel known. And sometimes it means thank you for seeing me. These are not just biological flukes. They're signals, invitations, truths. And if you learn how to respond to them with care, with stillness, with curiosity, you enter a feedback loop, a sacred rhythm. One where she softens, one where she opens, one where you both feel more human than ever before. Now, if you're thinking, I've never noticed this before, don't worry, you're not alone. We've all been taught to move fast, to chase, to prove. But intimacy lives in the slow. It lives in the noticing, the silence, the breath between words. And when you tune in, really tune in, you'll see her respond not just to touch, but to you. Your tone, your attention, your emotional clarity. And that's where the real transformation happens. So what should you take from this? That a woman's body, especially her chest, is constantly offering you insight. Not in loud ways, but in quiet ones. And if you slow down and watch, if you respond with grounded energy, you'll unlock a depth of connection that most people never experience. Not because you were seductive, but because you were present. This is where real intimacy lives. And if this video opened your eyes, even just a little, subscribe now. Here on Living Stoic, we explore what it means to live with awareness, depth, and emotional intelligence. This isn't about pickup lines or bedroom tricks. This is about understanding, about real human connection, about living by inner law. Now, I want to speak directly to the men who have been in relationships for years, maybe even decades. You might feel like things have changed, like the spark has dulled, like her responses are harder to read, like you don't quite know how to turn her on anymore. But here's the truth no one tells you. You don't need to perform. You need to perceive. Long-term intimacy isn't about technique. It's about tuning in to her energy, to her rhythms, to her nonverbal language. And yes, her chest is one of the clearest places to read it. Think about the last time she was truly relaxed around you. Not distracted, not stressed, but calm, present. Did you notice how her shoulders softened, how her collarbone opened just slightly, how her breath came in slow, full waves? That wasn't random. That was her nervous system trusting you. Her chest, her breath, her posture, they all reflect her inner emotional state. So the question isn't, how do I touch her right? It's, how do I create the emotional conditions where her body wants to respond on its own? That's the quiet skill most men never develop. But those who do, they don't need tricks, because their presence does the work for them. And it's not just about pleasure or attraction. Sometimes when a woman's chest responds visibly, it's because she's feeling emotionally seen, maybe for the first time in a long time. Let that sink in. A softening in her breath, a change in her skin. A visible shift in her chest. It could be from your hand on her back, your words during a hard conversation, the sound of your voice when you say, I get it, I see you. In that moment, her body is saying, yes, I feel this. And that moment, that's where emotional healing begins. Let's be honest, this level of connection requires courage. It requires unlearning the old idea that intimacy is about performance and embracing the reality that intimacy is about attunement. To feel her signals, to respect them, not rush them, to be curious instead of controlling, that's what makes her body open. That's what makes her trust you. Not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually. Because when a woman's chest reacts, when her breath changes, her posture shifts, it's a sacred signal. It means, I'm here. I feel safe. I'm beginning to open. Now let's explore one more layer. Her body listens to your voice. Science backs this up. The female nervous system, especially in emotionally mature women, is highly sensitive to tone and pacing. A calm, measured voice lowers her heart rate. A rushed, erratic one raises her cortisol. That means your voice can either calm her or push her away. When you speak slowly with warmth and certainty, when you take pauses and allow silence, when you don't try to dominate the moment but let it unfold, you're not just communicating with words. You're regulating her nervous system. And when her nervous system feels safe, her body starts to awaken. Sometimes subtly, sometimes powerfully, but always in a way that's real. Now this might sound unusual, but your breathing plays a role too. When you're calm, when you exhale deeply, your body sends a signal of stability, and women, especially those who are sensitive and self-aware, feel that. Your breath sets the pace, your tone sets the rhythm, your eyes set the mood. You're always communicating something, even in silence. So ask yourself, what does your energy say before your words begin? Does it say, I want something from you? Or does it say, I'm here, you're safe, take your time? One opens her body, the other closes it. Let's bring this full circle. Female chest responses aren't random. They're not just physiological reflexes. They are real-time feedback from her emotional world. So start watching. When you compliment her, watch what happens. When you pause and really listen, notice her breath. When you slow down during a hug, pay attention to her chest against yours. Does it soften, tighten, pull back? These tiny cues are your compass. They'll tell you more than words ever could. And if you're someone who wants real intimacy, not just sex, not just attention, but a connection that's deep, enduring, and transformative, then this is your path. Be present, be grounded, be attuned to the small things. Because when you are, a woman begins to feel that it's safe to be felt again. Her body stops bracing, her chest opens, her energy shifts. She doesn't just respond, she reveals. And that is where the real beauty begins. So here's your quiet challenge. In your next interaction with a woman you care about, don't try to impress her. Don't try to lead the moment, just be still. Watch how her breath moves. Notice the tiny changes in her upper body. Let your voice come from your center and respond with patience. Do that, and you'll experience something deeper than arousal. You'll experience resonance. The place where two nervous systems meet. The place where presence becomes pleasure, and where emotional intimacy becomes physical without forcing anything. If this resonated with you, if it opened something inside you, then you've just experienced what we believe in here at Living Stoic. This isn't just a YouTube channel. It's a place for men and women who want to live with more awareness, more depth, more emotional mastery. Because in a noisy world, we choose stillness. In a world chasing validation, we choose inner truth. This is living by inner law. So if you haven't yet, subscribe, stay with us, because what's coming next will change the way you see relationships forever. We'll see you in the next one.